Welcome to the Retail Tea Break. Each week, I'll be joined by industry experts, retailers, and product creators to decode the myths, share knowledge, and give you a better insight into the industry. My aim, as always, is to empower retailers and product creators to reach their potential. So, grab your cup of tea, sit back, relax, and listen in. My name is Melissa Moore, and this is the Retail Tea Break. Grabbing a cup of tea with me today is a lady I know really well. She's based here in the west of Ireland and is owner and founder and maker of a global skincare brand. Today, I am delighted to be joined by a dear friend, Elaine Kennedy from Hawthorn Handmade Skincare. Elaine, how are you?
Hi, Melissa. Thank you so much for having me on the tea break.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'm thrilled to have you here today. So, in the manner of all things tea, in the time it takes to boil a kettle, which is about 2 minutes, tell me a bit about you and the brand.
Well, as you said in your lovely introduction, I am the maker behind Hawthorn Handmade Skincare. And from my family farm here in the heart of County Mayo, I produce a range of 100% natural skincare products. They are free from synthetic ingredients, making them ideal for anyone seeking a natural approach to skincare. And I use easily recyclable containers like glass and aluminium, and I try to keep packaging to a minimum. So as I said, I'm here based on my family farm. I look out one window and I see Lough Carra in the distance. The other window is the Partry Mountains. So I'm based in a really scenic, beautiful area, and it's all this rich heritage around me that inspires business.
Oh, it sounds gorgeous, and it is such a beautiful part in the world. We're both so lucky to live where we live here in the west of Ireland, and I know that where you live has been a huge inspiration, which we'll talk about on today's episode. But I suppose to take it back, you started in retail, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is true, Melissa. So I'd actually moved to London. I'd been working in retail. I then wanted to pursue visual merchandising. So I always had a creative streak, and I loved anything to do with displays, putting together windows. Felt, oh, this is something I could do in London, get some experience, work for a fabulous company. And I was really lucky to work with a company called Jigsaw. And I started out on their shop floor in a beautiful store in Richmond. And their head office was just down the road in Kew, right beside Kew Gardens. I did visual merchandising. I got work experience with them, but it probably wasn't really what I expected. And the career prospects, they weren't what I anticipated either. So I was at a little bit of a crossroads. I wasn't quite sure what to do next. And I was approached by someone from head office. Would I like to apply for a job in their e-commerce team on customer service? And I knew that this was a great way to get into the company at the head office level. So of course I said yes. And it was one of the best things I ever did. I was able to build a relationship with everyone in the company, literally from the directors and the buyers, the pattern cutters, the garment technologists, even over to licensing and retail operations. And I crossed over quite a lot with retail operations. So I very much got to see all the different areas of the business and how they related to each other. So it was a fantastic experience.
I love the sound of that. And I love the fact that you've talked about being fully immersed in a retail setting. So as you say, you started off on the shop floor, but actually by the time you'd left Jigsaw, you had done all sorts in all areas of the business, and you really had a full understanding for what it takes to be a retailer. So how has that then influenced what you've done as a product maker?
So I realized that I didn't want to settle in London. And at that point, I started thinking, well, if I move back to the west of Ireland, I'm not going to be working for a company like Jigsaw. And they had such an incredible lifestyle built around the business. We had a gym and we had our own gym instructor and things like this. And it was all amazing. And I thought, well, could I come back to the west of Ireland and start creating my own business that was more about my lifestyle and my values? So the product making was something that I had just started as a hobby, and the very first products I made were cold processed soap. So they're the soap bars, and that was something I'd been doing for quite a few years, just as a hobby, and I was giving them to family and friends. But I started to explore that a little bit more. I noticed that there was a trend for natural skincare, and I was using more of the ingredients in my own skincare routine and started to notice the difference in my skin.
I have to say, anyone watching this on YouTube right now, and something I've always really admired with Elaine is how incredible her skin is. So look, and I know as well, the products work. They are beautiful, beautiful products. But so you started making product based on what you were using because you had seen the results. And obviously there behind you, again, if you're watching this on YouTube, behind Elaine are lots of her products. Kind of down the side there, she has the soaps, which is obviously come back to producing. How did the brand and the product range develop really from day one? As you said, you started with the soap, then you moved ahead and you've come almost full circle with them and moved on again. How's that brand kind of moved on, developed, that range has expanded? What was that like for you? And how did you find that journey? Because it can be crazy of like almost like a jump into the unknown to bring products on board, lose some, grow some more. What was that like?
Yeah, it's certainly a journey, that's for sure. And I very much spent a lot of time on testing the market, doing research and development. I initially launched with the soaps and they were received very well, but customers were looking for more. That really took me by surprise. They wanted more products. So I set about adding to the range, put quite a few products out there, again, testing the market, and then really piece it back to a core group of products. And then when I launched as a limited company in May of 2018, I had my set range of products, which were the face care, body care, and some hand care products. And they were very much informed by the customers, was chatting to people and doing the market research, even chatting to buyers and knowing what was on trend and, how retail was moving more towards natural products and handmade products. So kind of using all of those little nuggets of information that I was picking up from everyone, they very much informed the brand and the products that I have today. But I have to tell you, I just absolutely love the making process and I love formulating new products. So for me, sometimes I want to get going and I want to add loads more products into the range. But I know I have to just take my time and grow the range slowly. I will be launching some new products shortly.
Ooh.
And I might have an exclusive for the Retail Advisor tea break. So I am intending to freshen the brand. It is in progress. It is happening.
Wow.
And in January, we will be launching with a fresh look, new look branding. I like to think that it has, maybe matured a little bit. So yeah, it really has come full circle. We've kind of gone through all the different elements and really thrilled to be moving from Hawthorn Handmade Skincare to Hawthorn.
Amazing. Gosh. So we've gone from the soap and launching the core range kind of 3 years ago now. And now that you're very established, you're out there on the market with huge retailers across all sorts of online platforms, and obviously selling to the customer directly yourself, that you're in that phase now. And this really excites me for a brand. You're in the phase now where you're so established that you're almost rebranding, if I can call it that, or tidying up the branding, some may say.
Yeah, I think so. I suppose it is just, I guess, just bringing through a little bit more the creativity and the storytelling side of it. I do feel that I love the story behind the brand, but maybe I haven't always put that across to customers. So with the new branding, there will be a little bit more of that story behind it. So it's just having the confidence, I guess, to move forward with that. And
I love that. And I love the fact that a lot of this comes from your customer base. You very clearly said there to start with, when you launched the core range, it's what the customer wanted. And now obviously that we're moving towards changing the brand name to Hawthorn, it's what you feel the customer wants, because you listen to them, because you meet them, because you speak to people. The essence of your brand, even though it's based in the west of Ireland, is the fact that you listen to your customer throughout the world, whichever products they buy, and you're adapting and changing in line with that.
Yeah, absolutely, Melissa. And, that really is the core to the business. There's no point putting a product out there, even though you might love it. But it is all about what the customer is using, what she's finding beneficial, and she wants more of that. So I'm more than happy to give her those products.
That's amazing. And what's the process? So obviously your customers probably want all sorts of exciting new things from you. You can't make them all. You can't take them all to market. Talk me through the process of, I suppose, hearing your customers repeatedly say they want something, and you deciding whether it's a realistic product to add to the range, or it's something that it'd be nice to do, but maybe not right now, or maybe not at all.
Yeah, and that's very true. And sometimes I would put something out there just to maybe a couple of trusted people, really loyal customers who I know I can get their feedback before I actually move to putting a product on the market. So that's a really important part of it as well, is just trialing the product with the end user. And, is it something that is going to work? It doesn't always address all of the customer's wants or needs. So, you might relook at it, or you might think, yes, well, it's something that we could do maybe a little bit further down the line. And maybe there's something else that we can put out at the moment. And that's very much what I'm doing now. I have sent out products, and now I'm getting I've had the feedback back from customers, and they very much just informed me of the products that they want to see and they want to use next. But that's not to say that, further down the line, we won't launch some of those other products as well. But we'll definitely get the products that they want to use now into their hands.
I love that. And actually your journey is very realistic. I think a lot of people out there just presume that you start with the core products, you put them out there, then the automatic thing you think of next, you put out there and it works. As you say, it's an awful lot more complicated with that. You've tested it with customers, you've tested it with the retailers, and you also, by the sounds of it, need to ensure that it fits within the brand, within the core range itself, that it's not just a kind of an out there product that sits alone in a silo, but actually that your products generally work together to ensure that the customer has the best experience, both with your brand, but also with the product that they're using daily.
Yeah, and for me in my product range, I guess you can think about it, what products would you use in your routine? So if you're going to use cleansing oil, you want to follow that with facial mist, for example, and then you'll use either facial oil or face balm. And it's also about keeping it simple as well. So often we completely overcomplicate our routines. Whereas sometimes you only just need those couple of core products in your routine, and then maybe you would add in some further products as you need them. So I like to think about it in terms of the routine and what order customers will be using products. Maybe there are some customers who would like the additional product like an eye oil. So that would be more so an add-on, something that you wouldn't need every day or indeed, all of the time. So there are products there that customers can use if they need them. But I'm very much thinking, well, what are the core items that the customer needs and that she's going to make use out of? And there's no point putting lots of different products out there and knowing that a customer is only going to get halfway down the jar and then they've moved on to something else. So
I love that. And I love the fact that you use the word add-on there. So in my head, I'm suddenly thinking, well, hang on, Elaine has a range of core products that the customer's going to use daily. But actually, Elaine's been clever enough to add in these add-ons that someone could buy as a gift, that the woman that uses your products could buy herself to enhance the skincare range, even if she might, as you say, with the eye oil or maybe with one of your scrubs. She wouldn't use daily, but it's an addition to the core range that she can then go back to the retailer or go back to your own site and buy from you in addition. So suddenly we have a customer hooked on the Hawthorn Handmade Skincare brand. They're using this daily, and you've been kind of savvy enough to add on these extra little products into the brand, into the range that now surround it. So suddenly the customer has this immersive experience, but also by the sounds of it, the retailer has something to latch onto with the regular customers that they see all the time for your range.
Yeah, and the other side of it that I see a lot would be the gift boxes. So the user will buy the gift box for friends and family, and she'll recommend it. And that is a way of, adding to the sales, getting new customers as well, because that personal recommendation, that is invaluable. So I very much find that things like my skincare discovery kit, that has to be one of the best-selling lines in the range, because people who use the product, they're going to gift it to family and friends, and you're adding all the time to the customer base by having those kind of easy, accessible gifts, and especially for the face care products, things like the kit work incredibly well because you can try a little bit before investing in all of the products, and it's a really, really nice introduction. So
it's a really nice kind of journey that you've taken to even bring these gift boxes out, because obviously, as we say, you started with the core range, which is sitting there behind you, but to then go on and launch the gift boxes, which was a need that the customer had, that the retailer had, but also to have the foresight to say, well, hang on, my customer is the best sales pitch I'm ever going to have. If they're then buying it for their friends, their family, they can self-gift from my website, from a retailer's website, and then say, hey, I use this. This is going to be really good for you. You use it too. You've suddenly expanded your customer base, and you've suddenly then got new customers coming back to you for full-size products.
Yeah, exactly. It really was one of the best launches I had in terms of the gift boxes. We've just sold so many of them, and they've gone all over the world as well, which is amazing. So I love to see the orders coming back then and seeing them going all over the globe. And it's brilliant when customers come back and place the order for the full-size product, because they've really enjoyed the mini size. And the funny thing is, I'll see people as well ordering, and it's clearly for their husband, because they might have a little note in there as well. And they'll buy a couple of something for the man, which I think is so funny. And I've just had that recently where I've sent out quite a lot of mini size products, and they're coming back, and it's for the husband, or
Brilliant. Whole new customer base for you. There's something for the future. I love that. So we've talked about the product range growing over the last 3 years. We've obviously talked about this huge development with your branding developing, I suppose, coming to us soon now in January 2022. What other ways has the kind of the brand, has the product range grown, I suppose, and what weren't you expecting over the last 3 years?
Oh, that's a really interesting question, Melissa. Um, I, I suppose it is that support for Made Local. You know, that has been something that's come up recently that was probably a little bit unexpected. Sometimes you feel like you're trying to ram a message down a customer's throat, where you're saying, "Oh, we'll support your local maker." Whereas suddenly it's just become a huge campaign, and we've all very much bought into it, and now it's become a mentality. So previously we were saying, oh, you know, we really should be supporting local, but actually, you know, I'm just going to buy something that's being made abroad.
Nicely put there, by the way. That's very, very quietly put there, but we know what you're talking about.
And we wouldn't have put any thought into it, whereas now it's just become part of our mentality, and even I hope part of our culture, where we will seek that made local. You know, even the little signs I have up here as well.
And you know, that's something I'm really passionate about, supporting local makers, and really giving people the boost. Like, you feel great when you know you're buying either direct from a supplier or you're buying from an Irish retailer that is supporting the Irish supplier, and it makes you feel great. It makes the receiver of the gift feel great, and like, to know that we're supporting someone like you who's sitting in their studio in the west of Ireland, that's incredibly powerful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. And you can very much notice it with the retailers as well. And some people were very on the ball, you know, they were aware of it and it was something that they were supporting. So it's just great to see that the message has kind of gone through to all, you know, all of the from online to bricks and mortar. You know, you really see how important that Irish message has become. And again, you mentioned it, Melissa, you know, buying from the producer. And that's something as a maker I'd be very conscious of. And I would often go and find the producer and I buy directly from them because I know I'm supporting them just that little bit more. So I think that's a great way as well to support our makers and our creators. So yeah, it's been such a powerful message. I think it's been a very positive thing that has come out of kind of some recent events.
Definitely. And I think for me, it's starting to really feel like a movement. It's not a trend. Now that we are supporting local, whether we're buying from Irish retailers in our main streets or we're buying from local producers like you, we can't walk away from this. This isn't something, and I said this last year, this isn't just for Christmas. This is all year round. This has to continue. And I suppose that it would be wrong of me not to mention the other big movement. And I call it a movement because it's not a trend, because unless we get behind it, it's really going to damage our society, our planet. And I suppose, look, sustainability, it'd be wrong of me not to talk to you about it because you're so passionate about it. Where are your thoughts at, or how can we as consumers get behind the sustainability movement even more?
Yeah, you know, Melissa, it's something that really hasn't sunk in yet. And I think we're conscious of that. We're not letting it sink in. We're not treating it as reality. We're kind of brushing it under the carpet a little bit. And yes, we have made changes and we can see that, and that's brilliant. But it's not quick enough and it's not widespread enough. You know, we really need to be asking more questions as consumers, as makers, and as retailers. You know, we should really be looking a little bit deeper. For me in my business, there was some very easy decisions that really form the basis of my business. So I mentioned it previously, using things like aluminium and glass, they're infinitely recyclable. And I know a lot of people would have said to me, you can use PET plastic, and it's not as bad for the environment, but it's just my lifestyle choice. I have to disagree. There are other areas then in my business where, it's taken a little bit more thought. I've had to, go on a bit of a journey and kind of find what works and what's most efficient. And that has been challenging at times. And now I'm making some changes in some of my ingredients and where I've sourced them. And again, with some of my packaging choices. They've all been things that I've had to learn and that weren't obvious at the start. So we all just have to put a little bit more thought into our consumer habits. And as consumers, we do follow trends. So I very much think that makers like myself and retailers, we can set those trends and we can set the example. And it's very much time that we started doing that.
Absolutely. And I think it's really lovely. So you have a beautiful, luxurious brand, but by buying it, by supporting you, supporting local, you are doing a tiny, tiny bit for the environment and supporting the sustainability message, because it's who you are as a brand owner, that you're really passionate about it. So I think it's really lovely for consumers to be able to know that actually Elaine cares about this. The raw materials are coming from the right place, the packaging is the best it can be, but also that you're really honest and say, well, hang on, I'm on a journey here. I'm better than I was 3 years ago, and in 3 years ago it'll probably be better again. And I think it's the honesty is refreshing, as you said, instead of brushing it under the carpet, that you're really honest, that it's something you love, it's something that you're very knowledgeable about, but actually you can help support both the retailer and the consumer on their journey too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. And, it is a responsibility. We all have personal responsibility when it comes to the decisions we make in our brands and in our and what we're retailing, because I consider myself a retailer as well. I have an online shop and I have customers who will come and collect orders from me here locally. So I do consider myself a retailer, and I have to consider things like when I'm sending my orders out and to the customer online, what kind of boxing am I using? You won't believe this, Melissa, but when I'm sending out some of my orders, they're going into boxes that people have been hoarding for me. So the message went out that, oh, Elaine needs boxes.
So keep them. Everyone in Mayo is suddenly keeping boxes for Elaine and reusing them. It's brilliant.
Please don't keep any more. I already have enough helpers. So sometimes orders do go out in boxes that I've gotten from, maybe somebody else has received an online order and they've said, oh, that would be perfect. We'll keep that one for Elaine. And most of my wholesale orders, they will also go out in recycled boxes. So, even things like that, do we really need to be sending out fancy boxes with our orders, or can we come up with a different solution?
Fascinating. I definitely think we'll be talking about this again, because it's one thing that we definitely need to keep an eye on. I think as consumers, as you say, and obviously the makers themselves, it's one to watch. I think this message hopefully will grow and grow, and it's definitely something we will come back to. But before I let you go, I suppose my last question then, what are the plans for Hawthorn Handmade Skincare? Apart from the big rebrand coming in 2022, what are the plans for the next 6 months? And do we mention the C word?
Oh gosh, please don't. Yes, so for me, it's going to be all about getting the orders out. It'll be very much focused on gift boxes. I think that's going to be massive. So my plan is I'm going to have all my stock made for Christmas, and you can see lots of it here in the background. Anyone who's on YouTube, see all my soap bars are curing. But really, I have to be honest with you, I'm already in January. In my clock, on my calendar, I'm in January already.
I'm secretly glad to hear that. And any other product makers and retailers out there will probably be nodding and agreeing with you too. Yep.
So yeah, that would be really what I'm focusing on at the moment, and launching a couple of new products in January. There's a few other things I have up my sleeve.
Watch this space and we will be back to you.
Exactly. That will be another episode, I'm sure, in season 2 maybe of the Retail Advisor Tea Break.
You're booked. You're good at this, girl. I love this. Listen, thank you so much for chatting to me today. It's really fascinating to hear the journey that you've had, both with the brand, with the product base, and also, as you say, the interesting addition now of these movements of shop local and sustainability and the impact it's having on you and your brand. So if you have enjoyed today's podcast, please leave us a comment. Maybe let Elaine know what your favorite product is from the brand. Please like, share and subscribe to the Retail Tea Break. I'd really appreciate any feedback, any comments. I'm certainly learning as I go with this. So until next time, we'll see you then.